Well, Trey, I hope you're feeling wise today because we picked a topic where we're going to have to rally all of our wisdom and share it because it's such an important topic.
Yeah, so Kurt, I'm excited about talking about it mainly just because when I think about my life growing up, so I grew up in East Cobb, which if you're not from the Atlanta area, it's northern Atlanta. It's fast paced. There's a lot of McMansions. That's just kind of where I lived, and I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs. And bless my dad's heart. Um, he lived the high life, man. Let me tell you, he lived the high life. At one point, we had. I'm not kidding you, Kurt. And this is not bragging. You'll hear more about my own story through the show. But like, we had a 45-foot yacht growing up on Lake Lanier, and three cars. Plus my car, my sister's car. So at one point we had like six cars at our house. Like we lived this high life because my dad was a successful entrepreneur. He lived a life of profit. And while my dad was a purposeful man, um, sometimes I think that there was this constant search in his life for purpose. And
Wow.
and so, anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about today is that tension between profit and purpose, particularly for entrepreneurs. So yeah, excited that you're all joining us. If you're joining us on Facebook, we would love for you to mention anyone who might want to hear this show. If they're listening live, if you're on YouTube, great, you're one of the few. But we're so glad you're watching. Yeah, and if you're listening to the show after the fact, like, please do us a favor. Please subscribe to the podcast, share it out. We really want to empower people to think about their lives differently when it comes to how they lead their businesses, and make a life, not just a living. That's the
And,
purpose of this
and,
podcast.
and Trey, I think we're trying to, I mean, not that we're anything special in terms of our backgrounds or our technology skills or whatever, but from a heart perspective, um, I've been an entrepreneur for 39 years. And what I realized is there's good that came out of COVID as well as bad. There's good that came out of the last 5 years of craziness this world has been in. And one of the good things is there's real value in using communication tools to connect and live your life with more people than you could if it was just your neighborhood. We need the hugs. We need the sitting across the table with a cup of coffee, and those will never get replaced by technology, no matter how good AI gets. But Trey and I are really committed to trying to build a relationship with you where we can share important things, and we want your feedback. We want your engagement. We really want that. But and we want your comments on what topics are maybe critical to you. But as Trey and I share our stories, we hope that they impact your life, and we hope that you value those enough to pass those on to impact other lives. Because you know what? We live on this earth for a short time, but this is all about preparing for eternity, and
That's
we
right.
want to help you be prepared.
That's right. And so, we're talking about this idea of profit and purpose because what we recognize is, particularly for early entrepreneurs, this is one of the things that they hold in balance when they come to the vision of their business. Because we both, Kurt and I both, would say a profitable business is a good business, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Oh yeah,
I mean, I know that's a duh type of thing, but
my
there's so
accountant would
many.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, my accountant does too. But here's the thing: there's so many entrepreneurs out there who are living, from project to project. As families, we sometimes find ourselves maybe living paycheck to paycheck, but businesses sometimes live project to project. And the real thing is that, like, if you're still living project to project, if you're still living in that sort of way as a business 10 years into the road, then maybe, like, you might want to consider, maybe, is this really the right thing for you? Yet at the same time, what we all want is a successful business where profits allow us to grow as a business, and also to show that we are successful for our families, right? Like, and so at the same time, we know that mammon, what Bible talks about as money, can be an idol. It can be something that we chase. It can be something that that
That
can
may
give.
be like one of the most over abused scripture verses in history, because Bible certainly talks about, Trey, that uh, the money has evil properties to it. It can have
Oh yeah,
bad
sure.
connotation, but if you read the verse very carefully, those that abuse that verse, they say money is the root of all evil, and it actually
Oh
says
yeah, that's
the
not what
love
it
of
says.
money, is the root of all evil, and the Bible talks a lot about it. So we'll unpack that some more as we get going here.
Yeah, yeah. So that all that being said, that's kind of our focus this morning is we want to explore these two things, profit and purpose. And so we have four different ideas here that we want to talk through. The first one is around making money, right? Businesses aren't hobbies. If you are right now a Juice Plus franchisee owner, digital franchisee owner, you're a partner, whatever, right? Like you're doing that work and it is a hobby, right? You're not going to grow it. Like you cannot treat a business as a hobby. It will just slowly become a nuisance
Yep.
in your life. Would
Yeah,
you
there's a
agree, Curt?
yeah, there's a great book, Trey, um, that's been written about. It was written kind of for our industry from the perspective you talked about, um, but it's also just a good principle for an entrepreneur. It's called Go Pro. The book is, and it's by a gentleman by the name of Eric Worre. But he says, when you make the decision to treat your business like a business, it'll pay you like a business. As long as you treat your business like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And we know how expensive hobbies can be. I mean, all of us have hobbies that take money out of our accounts every month. We enjoy them, but they're not money makers. So,
All right, what's yours, Curt?
what's what?
What's the hobby that kind of like,
Hobby, or like I said, I like gadgets. I love technology. I mean, I will buy. I
yeah.
mean, we just got off the phone because I mean, I just watched the Apple, the little show they put on once a year with their new iPhone, and I got sucked in the vortex. I mean, I bought the iPhone, the watch, and the new AirPods, and they're coming, and I've got big plans on how I'm going to use them, and I justified in my mind buying them, and heck, you and I were just talking right when we were getting ready.
Yeah,
We were
I
talking
know,
about,
I
will
know.
my will my accountant let me write this off because I want it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And mine is comic books. I have been a comic book collector for a couple of years, and man, I really do love. Anyways,
So
that is a place.
do you read all those comic books or you just collect them?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have a reading stack, but I also just have some books that I'm afraid to even open because
Yeah.
of the value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't collect massive books,
Yeah, I
but
got you. Yeah, yeah.
I do have a couple. Anyways, we're off track. But
Yep.
making money is definitely a goal of a business. However, if you're going to be a person of profit, that might be where it ends, making money. But if you want to be a person of purpose, it is about living generously,
Yep.
right? That is where we start. When I started my business, that was what I wanted. I wanted my business not to be a reflection of look at how much money we make, what type of life we're going to live, all this sort of thing, but
Yep.
rather it would be a vehicle for God's kingdom. And I'll tell you, every time that I get stuck in a spot where I feel like that revenue is getting tight, when I challenge myself to give, it is incredible to see what God does with it.
Well, Trey, I know a little bit about how you and your family spend your time because we talk so much, and we've known each other for a long time. But I think what you just said is so true. But the generosity, I think we can get hung up on. It's just about how much money can you give. But I think I watch your family and I watch my family, and it's also putting yourself in a position to give of your time generously. Just like your family just went to that camp. I see your hat you have on. You just went to a camp and you were able to take off, be away, and you were able to serve, pay your own way to be there, and you were able to serve at this camp. And so, and we've been to Kosovo and done and had Kosovars, 30 of them at our house at a time, giving them their first Bible. But I mean, that was not just about money. It's about the house I live in being open for ministry. It's about, it's like, what is it? If you can see my fist, those of you that are watching this, I've got my hands open whoops, I can't get about there. My hands are open. And Ron Blue would say, if you open your hands and you take everything you have and you put it in your hands, and as long as you can keep your hands open and be generous with what you're given, you're in right standing with the way God wants you to live your life. But as soon as you close your fist and shut what you have off to be available for ministry and generosity, then you're clinging to things instead of clinging to God. And it's that was like something I got when I was 13 years old, and it's never gone away. It's like, okay, am I holding on to this, or do I know that God owns it?
That's right. And I think that if we are going to be people of purpose versus people of profit, I think we have to think about our giving first. And
Yep.
I genuinely believe that. And, you know, and there's different ways to do that, right? Like some of it is, you know, whatever you bring home in the sense of like, you know, that being a way that you can be generous. I personally believe in giving out of our revenue. Like for me, that's the way that I personally have interpreted first fruits and providing God that like God brought in that work into our business, and so therefore I'm going to give part of that back to Him as an act of worship, not just out of profits but out of
Yep.
revenue.
Yep.
Not everyone can do that, and I understand that. And so, but I genuinely believe that we can make really powerful businesses and be incredible business leaders if we see our businesses also be our generosity engines as well. And so that's our first kind of thing here. You want to be a person of profit, yeah, it's about making money. But if you want to be a person of purpose, the call is to live generously first, and know that those resources that comes from the Lord,
And,
right?
and Trey, don't you know people? I know people that have a lot of money and they give, but they give kind of begrudgingly. And I think when you say to live generously, I think of it's a spirit of generosity too. It's the attitude in which you give, that you're excited that you have present for provisions that you can give. Because I know a lot of people, and I feel like they give, but they're an ogre when they give. It's like,
Sure.
okay, sure,
Yeah.
yeah, you get them to pry their checkbook open. Um, but I do think it's a spirit of generosity we have to have.
That's right. That's right. So the next one is around people of profit. Their concern is fast cash,
Yeah.
right? It's about getting rich quick. It's about fast growth, right? Like, and some of this I think is tainted, and we'll get to social media in a bit, but like, I think some of this is tainted by we see so many people, I'm doing these air quotes, right?
Yep.
So many people that are so successful. The truth is some of it is our world, while it has broadened through our communications and being able to see more people because of the internet and technology and all this sort of thing, it we certainly can give a bigger picture of the world. It's also created almost somewhat like a constriction of our lens to only the people that are like the most successful,
Mhm.
right? And they are the fastest growers. I mean, you start talking about how to lead a business on YouTube, and the algorithm is going to start serving you people who's like, I started 6 businesses in the past 3 years, and now I'm a multimillionaire, and that's
Yep.
what you see, right?
Yep.
But that's not the truth. A person of profit, they're going to make all their decisions around fast cash, get rich quick, how to grow as fast as I can. Where we believe a person of purpose is about becoming a good steward.
You
What do you think
know,
about that, Curt?
I mean, I'm hoping even this might could be a place where our amazing Ashley could clip something and grab a short out of this, because in our industry, the industry that we're in, the get rich quick mindset is the downfall of our industry. It's what puts the bad reputation on our industry. It's what creates, is it one of those pyramid things? Is it one of those scams or schemes or whatever? Because so many of those, the constant picture is 100% the pile of money in the greener grass, or in the greener grass that's on the other side of the fence. They're painting the picture there's greener grass. Here's the real truth. You can move to greener grass, but they never tell you you have to take a lawnmower over there with you too. All you see is the manicured lawn, like Trey described, of the person that's got 6 businesses in 6 months or whatever. But what I'm telling you is the real truth in our business, and where I've made the most money gain the most growth in my business is not by finding somebody that followed the desire for a Rolex watch or a mansion or a boat. When I've found the right person, it's somebody that God's brought across my path, that our paths have crossed, and they have a hunger or a need in their life, just like I did when I got started. And I'm able to take what I know, the roads I've been down, the lessons that I've learned, and I'm able to take this business and help them meet a need in their life. You know, God promises to meet our needs. He doesn't promise to provide the riches we desire. And I know that this business can meet your needs, especially if you put God first and He gets the glory and you don't get the glory. And number two, if you make yourself available to His calling in your life, then He's going to fund the needs to allow you to pursue His calling. I know that. And that get rich quick mentality, honestly, I think it's straight from the devil.
Mm. What do you mean?
I think it's an evil, um, instant gratification, not looking long term, no eternal perspective on anything. It's greedy, it's selfish, it's narcissistic. It's like, um, well, I want to get rich as fast as I can. Why? I mean, what do you mean? Why don't you just want to provide for your needs and be available for what God calls you to do? You don't say that. No, I want to make as much money as I can as fast as I can. And the world tempts you, just like pornography and crazy sex stuffs everywhere. There's the temptations of gold, and the amassing money is it's just as bad, and it's out there just as much. And it's just, I don't know, it wears me out seeing the promises of get rich quick, because I know after 39 years, I know that WORK is a part of the equation.
Hmm. Well, let me tell you, I think that one of the this is something that I talk about with a lot of my customers. So if y'all don't know me, but I own a marketing and branding agency, and people ask me, how do I get more customers? What's how every customer that comes to a marketing agency, they're like, it's all about like generating leads, and this is what I tell them. This is what it is. Do right and do good for people. This is where 80% of your business will always come from. Is it fast? No. Is it right? Absolutely. Because for me, I think that one of the things that we have forgotten as business leaders is, I was talking to someone the other day. They were like, well, it's all about the funnel. It's a math equation. Is if I can just get as many people as possible into my funnel, then I can just trust the math on how many people are going to convert. While that is true,
Hmm.
right? Math's math. It is
Yep.
trustworthy. The real thing is that if you reframe your whole pursuit of what your purpose in life is, not around filling your funnel, but really around doing good by people, I believe that funnel will get full.
Yep.
I know that is true. Will you have hard times? Sure, but even the businesses that just constantly fill the funnel with cash are going to have hard times too. But I believe that we've forgotten this idea of what being a good steward to customers actually is. And you mentioned your thought. Here's my thing as a service-based provider. This is what I know is true. Is if I actually take my book of business and I look at the big projects that we have that come in, wow, this is a huge number for a project. That's amazing. Let me tell you the number that will always beat it is how much a particular customer spends over time. That should be our marker for success in my industry, in my opinion, is customer lifetime value, not necessarily that initial project. Because the real truth is that when you start doing that, you start realizing this is a relationship,
Yep.
right?
And
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 we know that.
and that's what AI is never going to replace, Trey. I mean,
Oh, sure.
can we make a note right now? How many of you guys would like for Trey and I to do a podcast on the new world where transactions are trying to replace relationships? It's not going to happen, but it's your
That's good.
choice. That's
That's good.
Trey. Can we anchor that as a topic for down the road?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so. So, person of profit is about fast cash, fast growth,
Yep.
where we believe a person of purpose is actually one of being a good steward,
Yeah, and
right?
it's a mindset, and it's what lens are you looking through? Yep.
Yeah. Another one that we have is grind. A person of profit, it's all about the grind,
Yep.
right? Because the end result is usually about retirement or fast to get the cash, right? And it is about the grind. Whereas a person of purpose, Kurt and I believe there's a difference between grind and hustle,
Yeah.
right? And so Kurt, I know that we talk a lot about this idea of getting out of the grind. What does the grind look like to you when you start talking to people about what their lives look like when they're like, man, I just feel like I am just grinding it out at work and I hate it.
I think the grind is almost a state of being versus uh, an activity or a place to
I
get you out of where
completely
you are.
agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Yes.
So when I think about that, I mean, I think about the way I would describe it, and those of you that have heard me speak before and do a live presentation, you may have seen Trey or I stick a slide in about this, but it's what does the average young person, what are they thrown into is their expectation when they graduate from high school? You go to college and you get a degree, and they're all excited. And you have no responsibility in college. You get out of college, and here's the life you're dealt. For most people, over the at least true of the last 20 years, the last decade, is you get a computer, a cubicle, a commute along with your degree, and then you go do life. And you take that cubicle, computer, and commute, and you work it as hard as you can, and you float a new resume on LinkedIn or online, and you upgrade your job to go do the same thing over and over again. And then you do the same thing. And so during all that time, you find a wife, you find a house, you get a child, you get a bigger house, you have another child, you're doing all that. And then all of a sudden, early in your life, you hook up with a financial planner that, you know, he wants you to work harder too to fund your 401k because he's excited about your life when you turn 70. And all of a sudden, you're in this grind, and then you don't even realize you're in it because you're just working to fill the different accounts in your life with cash.
That's
It,
right. That's what it feels like,
yeah,
right? The image that came to my mind is a garbage disposal. Here's the thing. Living the life of the grind can be efficient,
yeah,
right? That's what garbage disposals do,
yeah.
right?
There's definitely a
That
rhythm to it. Yeah,
Yeah, right. It's rotating, it's doing its thing, it can churn and everything like that. But let me tell you something. No one likes the noise once you start putting food down there and it starts to really work, right?
yeah,
And that sometimes is that's why I like your idea here is this is a feeling. That's the feeling I feel like people have. It's the sound of a garbage disposal running at high power, trying to churn through the crap that we're loading into our lives in order to do what? Right? To
yeah,
to pursue the dream.
yeah. And
Okay,
literally, if you live on a septic tank, that output of the garbage disposal can ruin your life down the road
oh yeah, no
too.
doubt. Whereas you and I would say the difference between a person that of profit being living and feeling this grind every day, the idea of a person of purpose is hustle.
Yeah,
Because one thing that I want to be really clear about,
it's diligence. Yep,
being profitable
yep,
is hard.
yeah,
Being a good steward is hard.
yep.
And I want to recognize that we're two successful business owners, but that didn't come from like a roll of the dice.
No,
What it came from is initiative in setting really good boundaries for ourselves, right?
but
Because the grind has no boundaries, right?
yeah, but you don't.
Hustle,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No,
No, no,
I
no,
was,
you're good.
it's um I don't think either one of us, because we were in God had us doing things in our life. I got married. You were in the church. You were in ministry, and you were in education. But I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to get out of the grind. So getting out of the grind is not another job, guys. Getting out of the grind is a mindset change. It's a paradigm shift. It's what are you after? What's the end in mind? And so when Lori and I decided that for her to be able to be at home and be the mom we wanted her to be, and we saw this life that we if we kept staying in the grind, there was a moment, and I would call it a Kairos moment now that I know that word, and maybe we'll unpack Kairos for you one day. But it's the abnormal thing. It's not in the normal timeline of life. God comes down and you get this moment of awakening, seize the
It's a
moment kind of thing.
catalyst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a catalyst. And so, but Lori and we would just get up and go to work, and you will stay in the grind until you respond to a catalyst that says, that's not what I want to do the rest of my life. For things to change, I've got to change. And the grind is real. And usually it involves somebody reaching down there and pulling you out that cares enough about you. That's what I feel like the joy that I get to do every day is my business allows me not just to achieve, but it allows me to pull other people out from where they are and give them a path. But the grind will suck you in and it will make you feel like there's no way out. So you just put the pedal down and stay in the grind. So well, you said something, Trey, that triggered me a minute ago. Working harder within the grind can work. You can make that work, and it can seem like you're an efficient little gerbil on the wheel. You're a hamster on the wheel, running wide open, and you've learned how to make that wheel go really fast. But is that what you want your life to look like?
Exactly. Yes. And people will ask me like, you know, you worked in schools and you worked in churches. That must have been like, I mean, that had to be like most people look at those jobs. I mean, granted, I think we all know how hard teachers work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, but this isn't like you working for a tech startup, right? And I want to tell you, I felt the grind at the two places I worked at. I mean, these were hard places sometimes to work at. But I also did, and I think this is important what you mentioned here, Curt, is that I did end up being able in both of these scenarios to shift my mindset from grind to hustle because I started redefining what is it that makes me feel like the grind, and it was around not setting the right boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I exited ministry, I went to the school that I was at. I One of the first things that I told my boss in the interviews, I said, "Hey, I need you to understand, I don't work on the weekends." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You don't get to call me on the weekends." And he was like, Okay, like that's unusual." And I was like, "I've learned that that is a boundary for me, right? And I recognize as a teacher I have to bring work home because I'm gonna have to grade some things and things like that, but the weekends are mine, right?" And going into my business now, I said, "Hey, look, here's the deal. 5 o'clock, it's time. I'm going to set that boundary." And I think that that is a good part of hustle because it allows us to have a better rhythm, which we talk about all the time. But rhythm is really important. And you can hustle, but not make it feel like a grind. So that to me is around like people of purpose. They have that initiative. They have those boundaries to be able to hustle, but not necessarily get burned out while doing it. Which I think is that person of
Hey,
profit. Man, they can just get burned out.
Trey, I know we're recording here live. Can you jot down another topic? How
Sure.
how how do we use technology to live with better boundaries? Technology, to me, technology invades my boundaries because it doesn't take a nap. So, like, I have to be careful talking about boundaries. Trey just mentioned. I mean, I'll send Trey a message on Sunday because I'll think about it, but I'll put a little thumbs up. Hey, listen to this on Monday. I just wanted to send it to you so I didn't forget. Because
That's right. That's
I
right.
do respect his family, but I also don't want to forget. So, there are ways to use technology today and not let it invade your
Mhm.
boundaries. But if you don't watch out, you're gonna be on 24/7, 365 if you're not careful.
That's right. All right. So the last one here is around people of profit. They pursue the life of the rich and famous, right? So I
Yeah.
grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
And so Weezer, Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be. That was the song that was playing, right? Like the idea of this rich and famous life. That's what profit looked like. And that was I'm like I opened the show, like that was a lot of my family's life
Yep.
growing up. We grew up in a very affluent lifestyle, and I had a really good relationships in my family. Like we were a solid crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time, sometimes we lack this purpose because I think people who pursue profit, it's about becoming rich and famous. It's about becoming that influencer. It's about, you know, I want people to look at my life and perceive it in a particular way. Well, whereas a person of purpose prioritizes peace in their life, right? Which, let me tell you, the one thing that I'm so grateful that I did in life was marry a farm girl.
Hmm.
Lauren, she knows how to be thrifty. I had no idea how to steward money personally growing up. But when I
Yeah,
married Lauren,
I regret introducing my wife to Nordstrom's. She was a Walmart girl, and I introduced her to Nordstrom's. It was a big mistake.
but the truth is a lot of the reasons why like I was even able to start a business and bootstrap it myself was because as a family we prioritized peace. And what we did is we we've we I mean we are almost I mean I'm 40, Lauren's turning 40 this weekend. We are almost completely debt free minus our house, right? Which, I mean, there's just not many people my age who can say that that is true about their
Yep.
lives. And a lot of that is thankful that my parents helped me out with college, and I'm grateful for that. But it also is the hard work of saying, nope, we're going to live not just at our means, but below our means, which, let me tell you, when you start to become a business owner, you start becoming successful and you realize, particularly if you're a sole owner LLC and you start to look at that bank account, it's really easy to be like, well, hey, that's all my money anyways. Let me figure out how to use that and get that card and get that thing. Like trust me, yesterday I was in the same boat. I put in three different things inside of my Apple cart, and each time I went back and removed it because I was like, I'm gonna budget for this. I'm gonna budget. I'm gonna think about this. Right.
Yep.
My watch acts fine now. Granted, you and I are in very different periods of life,
Yep.
right? And so
Yep.
I'm so excited that you've made the decision to buy those new gadgets, and I will never tell you that was the wrong idea because you've done well in life. But I'm still in that stage of like trying to be intentional about how I continue to prioritize peace in my business and peace in my life.
Yeah. It's interesting to me to see how many people. One of the things that we talked about COVID and what lessons I've learned from COVID. That would be a great podcast too. Lessons learned from COVID. But I saw all these people that became famous on YouTube really quick because the the eyes of the world were turned to our screens because we had no choice. So I mean, there was some stupid stuff on YouTube that was getting all these views. I'm like, this guy's just talking about walking his dog and how he picks fleas off his dog. I mean, and there's 1,000 people watching. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like crazy stuff. And then what you began to see was you began to see entrepreneurs that I felt like their goal and their vision changed. It wasn't about doing what was right or building a business. They wanted to become famous on YouTube. I mean, there was this. They wanted stage time. They wanted the limelight. Now, you can monetize that too, but what it made me see is what you're doing. Let's just talk whatever you do to make money. Okay, you have to do something to make money. The lazy are going to fall and fail and rot, according to Proverbs. Those are my own words, but basically that's what it says. And so the lazy aren't gonna survive. So you can't. So you got to do something. And is what you're doing in alignment with your purpose, or is it propping up a photoshopped lifestyle on Instagram or YouTube? So to create your fame, and maybe you're faking your followers into sucking them into your vortex because your goal is not building a solid business. Your goal is fame and power and fortune, which is just evil as far as I'm concerned to suck people into that vortex. But what you're doing, what is it doing? Is it funding a life of luxury, immediate gratification, and a get rich quick mindset you're trying to pass on to the world? Or is what you're doing to create money funding and being the foundation for you to 100% go after and do what God's called you to do?
Mm-hmm.
And those are two drastically different things. You might, and some of that's that some of you don't need to change jobs or change careers. You need to change your attitude about what you're doing, change your boundaries, change your margins, change your priorities. Some of you do need to change careers. Some of you are in a place where it's all about the paycheck and there's no place for you to build a life. And that sucks because you need that margin. I'm not saying everybody's going to do it, but you need the ability to go pursue the life God's called you to live, no matter how you make your paycheck. If you don't
That's
have
right.
that space, then you need to find another place. I mean,
That's
no
right.
matter what you're doing. But yeah, you can restate that fourth topic. I mean, if you want to bring up that fourth point
Yeah.
again, but it's
That
all. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that people who live lives of profit pursue this rich and famous wealthy life,
You can
that
see
this
it.
dream of what it would look like,
Yeah.
rather than people of purpose. They prioritize peace in their life. That's what they
Well,
want, and they do everything around intentionally. How does my business, how does my life, how does my money, how does all of this prioritize my greatest purpose in life
think
with
about this,
clear
Trey.
lines?
What you just said. Both of these things attract people. Okay, this fantasy life of getting rich and this famous virtual world you might live and you present on YouTube, or that's what you wear your cocktail dress for, and you get dressed up and you show off your lifestyle. That's going to attract a certain person. But then the person that's after a purpose, that's wise, that's got a why, a WHY in their life that they're pursuing and it drives them. Do you know what? It may not attract as many as fast, but that's also going to attract a certain type of person to join you. And you got to make a decision. As you maybe that's the punchline of this podcast is number one, which life are you living? And what kind of people do you want to attract to surround you in the life that's in your future? And you can choose to live either one of these lifestyles we're talking about, one that pursues passion, purpose, in your calling, or one that pursues profit and the immediate gratifications of the world. And you're going to attract
That's right.
people and you're going to have a following, but there are consequences in both those groups. One's pretty bad, and one's going to mean. What about? I mean, we haven't even gotten into this, Trey. But what if you chose the purpose and passion and living with purpose, and it drew those kind of people into your life, and those are the kind of people that you had that got to pour into your kids? Or what if you'd lived the lifestyle of the fake rich and famous, the get rich quick lifestyle, and you pulled in the people that were like fake and in it for the moment, and those are the people that influence your kids? What do you want? What do you want? I mean, there are consequences for which of these things you choose for generations to come, guys.
That's right. Well, this was a great conversation, Curt. I appreciate it. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. To reiterate, what do persons of purpose look like, right? They live generously, they're good stewards, they hustle, and they prioritize peace. This is what people of purpose looks like.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm so grateful that I've had people in my life to teach me those things. And we're glad that we can be those people, to possibly share those principles with you as well. And so, again, we're glad that you could join us. Curt, something that is really important that we've got to make sure that people tune in.
Yeah.
We are going to be releasing an episode in October early, right? And so, this is going to be a really important episode. I promise you will not want to miss it. We're actually going to be streaming live. Can we say the date,
Yeah.
Curt?
September 29th on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still finalizing the time, but on September 29th on Monday, if you watch Kurt's socials, you will find out when we're going to be streaming live. I promise you, you're going to want to not miss this next
I
episode.
mean, I mean,
Um,
I mean, you know what, Trey? I'm gonna say this. Just trust me. Trust your gut that you need to be listening to that podcast on Monday, September 29th. Something brand new that literally could be life changing for you is going to be talked about. And I will have a medical doctor on with me, just so you'll know. And it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, great. So again, thank you. You can find Curt anywhere at Curt Beavers on the internet, and we're really glad that we can be a part of helping you. Yeah, think about life and how you can make it, and not just let it pass by. So have a great week, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you later. God bless.